cat. A good friend of mine online, Will from Just In Time Prepping, has a GAW going on, and he has 4 prize packs, and they're all very well worth doing. And I think he's actually going to include us Canadians in the draw, I think. If he doesn't, I'll not win, and if I win anyway, I'll pass it along if I can't get it in Canada, which is fair enough. Postage costs, right? Anyway, so you have to do certain things for this. You don't have to do a VR, but you have to nominate 3 small channels of less than 200 subs that you think you support and say why. So without further ado, let's have a look at the 3 small channels. One small channel I've been subbed to for a long time, and it's still small, is the newly named conservative views by Christine's called Reverend Christine, because apparently she's a pastor, though she doesn't preach, other than grid down stuff. And she has a small garden. But what her real great talent is to actually talk for a long time in occasional videos about deep matters of grid down and politics, of which she's spent a lifetime being involved in. And you won't go far wrong subbing with the Reverend Christine. Another one's a new channel, but the old channel I loved and subbed for a long time. Jeff Helm. Jeff Helm is north of me in Canada, but close to the Americans, and he does a lot of military style videos, how to prep for invasion, how to prep for armed and trained terrorist encounters and things like that, amongst a lot of other things. And he's got a great sense of humour. And one of the things that I'm deeply upset about, Jeff, about you destroying the original channel for security reasons, is the loss of that fascinating video you did on bugging out by horseback. Absolutely hilarious, mate. So yeah, Jeff Helm, definitely sub him. Another one's a bit of a swinger for me. As you know, I enjoy videos and channels that aren't necessarily online with how I think, and this one is started, and it's a new one, Mom in the Wild. You may have heard of Lily in the Wild, her daughter I believe, who, I probably got that wrong, if I did I apologise, but really great, both of those great channels, but Lily's got far too many subs for obvious reasons. She's a lot more entertaining than I am. But Mom in the Wild's doing a channel as well, and she's a really nice person, and she talks about things that are important to her, mostly from a spiritual angle, a religious angle, and I'm enjoying her stuff, and she's a really nice person, and I think she should have more of an audience. So that's 3. But the main part of the video is what would you and your family do to survive the first 60 days of SHTF? Well, if it's local, we're going to bundle everybody up and taxi or drive away and go on vacation. I think that's the obvious answer for local SHTFs if you can afford it, or if you have family and friends to go to. However, I think Will's more talking about an apocalyptic type SHTF, at least I hope you are, Will. What would I do? Well, aside from the obvious, assuming I survive, I'm then going to spend 60 days trying to survive. I'm going to spend the 60 days hiding. If I can bug out immediately, I will. If, because of radiation, I cannot bug out, then I will stay in place here in this basement and create a shelter down here. Water and food in both places are more than adequate for 60 days without resupply. The heating in both places is available via wood, so the winter would be fine. One of the problems I just realised doing this is that our bug out plan to the Shire actually in the winter depends on having snowshoes or cross-country skis, and both of those things are at the Shire, so that's not much use for us if we're here and we have to bug out there. So I'm going to have to think about that. Do I want to bring them back here and then carry them back and forth to the Shire for recreation in this winter, or do I want to actually get another pair here specifically for bugging out? So that's an interesting fact. The other one we would do is we would try and avoid neighbours, but try and avoid conflict. So that would mean that if there is government redistribution of food, and if there is government supplies that are available, if it is reasonably safe to do so, wearing clothing, we'll go down there and get our free food, because remember, we're not preppers, right? You don't want anybody to figure that out, or you're in deep doo-doo. One of the things I would do is I want to look worse than my environment, not as good as. So a strict calorie controlled diet from day one, and one set of outdoor clothing that we would wear, and never clean. As soon as things start to deteriorate in the area, I would actually do things like put dog poop along the edges of the clothing so we stink and things like that. I would let my hair go really wild and I wouldn't shave for a while. You really need to look part of the area you're in grid down. If you can look marginally worse off than the others in the area, you're doing great. So obviously if you have to go out and about and you have to find food and you have to find firewood and you have to find water in the first 60 days, you might want to re-look at it. I would say certainly for the first 30 days you should be able to be in any place you own and not open the door. I think that's kind of an obvious safety prep that you can do. And I think 60 days is a good period of time, and I think that's also an important thing. What I actually would recommend is 90 days water, food and heat in or at your home and at your bug out location, because if it's a radiation event, not being able to go outside for 90 days is really going to give you a fighting chance, not guaranteed, to actually survive. Anyway, thanks Will, great GAW. Everybody should pop over to Just in Time Prepping and see if they can enter the GAW, and there's some great prizes, so toodles.
This is a public service announcement. This